Hey everybody, how's it? Aloha. Ooh, one more left before I go on my break. Well, actually two, but the last one is just a surprise strictly for the subscribers on the channel. And this is before I take my break tomorrow for about a week, minimum a week. It might be slightly longer, but all for good things. Guys, gals, I have John Frusciante. And now I definitely know he's been in a couple bands. He's a movable part around the industry and has contributed to so many pieces of work by many different bands or musicians and stuff. And I've had many people ask about me to do something of his. I've had it on my list. Don't know why I've never got around to it, like the other 500 songs I got here. But thank you for your patience. I do have them on lists. If you leave them in the comments, I do put them on a list, trust me. So this is called Central, the Empyrean? I'm sorry. Correct me. Be gentle. And I want to thank you guys for your support. Any commercials run on this, copyright claim by the publisher, writer, record companies, artists. They deserve to make a little money. However, I also support them. You will find the link for this video and any of his Spotify and his merch and CDs and stuff will be below. Just like a link, if you so decide, to buy me a cup of coffee, because you know my channel's not monetized. So if you decide to, that's great, and it also helps me do what I do with the kids and ventriloquism and stuff, and some nonprofit work and so on and so forth. So let's do this. John Frusciante Central, the Empyrean. All right.
I'm central to nowhere, thinking of sweeping it clean. When we choose to go, we're losing more than just our surroundings. I've gone around the start of this universe as it stands, outside the limits of all existence. Well, it never ends. Let's be grateful to the gods, whether they will to they might bless nothing here. Remember that moment by the
Okay, I got to stop right there. It's usually a pretty early stop for me, but wow, there is a lot of really super... Wait, what? Johnny, come get me. There are some great things happening in the instrumentation here. And I figured let me get this out of the way now so that we can listen to it while we go through it, because I'm pretty sure it's going to stick around. On this side here, there was a piano part that was playing. Very small, it had a very small position in the mix on this side. But also on this side, there also seemed like there was a Leslie or a Hammond or a B3 doing an accompaniment. Whereas on this side, there was the really super cool electric guitar that started off, and then halfway through this already 1 minute, a nice beautiful stereo acoustic guitar comes in. So very fast on the arrangements, and the bass, man, that bass is working it. That bass was keeping such a unique line and phrasing and everything. And then first time I've ever, this is a first listen, the first time I've even listened to a song, but what a super cool voice. Very psychedelic, very powerful, very organic, but kind of this vibe kind of reminds me kind of like a Doors kind of thing. For those of you who know and remember who the Doors were, even if you're a yo-hip, kid and you've got some depth, look up the Doors, and I'm sure you may recognize some of the songs from films that it's may have been sourced out on, but this is great stuff. I'm loving the textures of the instruments and the arrangements and stuff. So okay, let me goober on. Here we go.
remember that moment by the face. Anything that could one day be is as real as what I'm saying. If something was nothing, it must not be something in any possible way.
Okay, I know there's more coming, so don't worry. I'm not stopping this because of a fade, but there's enough that's gone by that if I don't stop now, I'm gonna miss some of the stuff that I thought was really cool. Second verse, that melody that he sings for his verses, the intervals are beautiful. The spaces between the notes, those are intervals for those of you who are I do these videos for the pure listener. That's you who knows nothing about music and you just love it and you don't know why, and I bring these little nuances out. The intervals between the notes that he's singing, da da da, those kind of, that's an interval, those are wide interval, is beautiful, and it's kind of hypnotic. And it's hypnotic also because of the tone of his voice. You know, this kind of sounds like what perhaps the Doors may have sounded like in today's recording environment, or whenever this was recorded. You know, having, excuse me, the abilities to have fun with extra layers and stuff like that. The second verse had the guitar that was more whining through. The guitar that started at the very beginning was in the same kind of pattern as these longer notes that were just being held down or being played through. But the melody, obviously it's the first, the melody was the same and it was just beautiful. Then as the passage started to grow and it shifted into more of an instrumental aspect of the song, then you had this, the electric piano sound, which was more of a stereo tremolo vibe to it. And then you had this, I don't know what kind of an organ it is. If it could be Wurlitzer, it could be whatever it is, you know, B3 Hammond, was doing this really super cool thing in the middle and keeping it all kind of, you know, nice in a sense. And then as it moved forward, the strings came in, and that, you know me in the strings. If you got the guts to put strings in your song, I'm going to listen to it. I'm going to hone into it. And what I love, it's a very small section, if a section at all. So maybe it's maybe two violins, one violin and a viola or something like that. What I mean by section is that violins, when they're played usually on songs and when they're arranged, they could be as small as one solo instrument to as large as a, you know, 24/8, 4 and 4. That's a setup: violins, violas, cellos, double bass, etc. Very, very intimate arrangements. But what I love about it is that the position in the mix is not buried, and it really gives you enough of the sound where you can just hear the rosin off of the bow against the strings and stuff like that. That brings the song into the world of organic composition to me, organic presence, organic performance. That's why I keep on referring this to a Doors kind of vibe, because it's one take stuff. You know, it's that energy that a song is written and performed in a particular way that, excuse me, that you get a particular feeling of it, and that's what I'm loving about this. So I'm only halfway through this, so let's just keep going. Here we go. All right, that solo, doesn't that have kind of like a Santana vibe to it? And I really dug that. You know, here's where I'm going to geek a little bit about the engineering. This engineering is such an important part of recording, from the first punch of the record to the final mix out. And you know, engineers, a lot like editors in film, everybody knows they're very important and stuff. And they don't get a lot of praise, but I just love the light touch of the engineering, yet tricky, cool stuff. Like for instance, let's just talk about the beginning of that section that I started listening to, and that slow fade up of the drum kit. And, you know, probably grouped them all on the faders, and then they probably assigned this, you know, the volume just to one fader to go up instead. It's possible they had all, you know, 6 fingers on and stuff, but in most cases, you group those off, you lock them off, and they all move at the same time, and you'll assign it to something. They get that in there. The snare sound, I love that snare sound. It's just kind of like they just threw maybe an SM57, which is a type of microphone, just, you know, maybe about 8 inches off and just let it be. And the drum is just a very raw sounding snare sound. But the bass that was playing, that came in, 2 notes at the same time. Not necessarily a big deal, but I heard it and it felt great, and it felt very, the word again I just keep on going back to is just soulful and organic. You know, it wasn't a trickery thing. It wasn't a thing to make you go ooh ah. But if you're listening to the way I'm listening to it, I'm going, I'm really digging that. Now, as this moves forward through the passage and some of the instrumentation changes, arrangements get a little bit fuller. I don't know if it's me, and since I can't really tell, and I was struggling, that when the guitar solo came in, it almost seems like the bass kind of, they panned the bass over a little to the left and maybe kicked in some distortion or a little overdrive on it. I don't know. That's just what my ear's telling me. I could be wrong. And then the guitar took center stage. And I love those if that is what happened, I love those kind of engineering techniques and stuff. It's just not used that often anymore. You know, there used to be the day of the Beatles when the drum was over here and the bass was over here and one guitar was here and the vocal was here. You know, and that's the way it was at the time when people were messing around for the first time with hi-fi stereo. Anyhow, I goobered about that. And I love the guitar solo, the tone of the guitar, but I love the solo. It had the essence of the Santana vibe and feel. But whoever played that solo, of course, it's unto their own skill set and how they interpreted and performed that solo. But to me, I got kind of Santana fun vibe out of it. All right, here we go.
I can't believe these words I say. You gotta feel your life, you gotta feel your mind. Turning your tongue up is not needed. Treading your tongue that is not near as a man on a cross that do not be. I can't believe these words I say. You gotta feel your lines, you gotta feel your lines.
You know, when oh, there's a little more left. Stand by. That was great. You know, when the wall of sound came in, at first I was a little bit taken back by the mixing decision. I was like, wow, they really shoved, you know, this last phrase really kind of up there. Didn't drown out the drums, but the drums definitely took a back seat. And then you saw me do this, and that's when they're fading out the drum kit. And it really impresses me that they gave the power they did to the strings, and it seemed like there was another instrument. I couldn't quite peg it. It sounded like it could have been more of a guitar with some long tail effects on it and stuff that was supporting the strings. And there's something else before I close this out that I really enjoyed about John's voice. It was also the decision to do a real quick slap back echo on it. It didn't have anything to do with timing the, I'm sorry, did I say, well, slapback echo delay. It didn't have anything to do with timing. In other words, it wasn't something that timed off. It was just a really quick slapback, and that's a technique that actually is reminiscent again of 60s style, you know, very first time out of the box working with delays and stuff like that. And that's why this whole track gives me that total raw, organic. This is all about songwriting. This is all about the guys getting in the studio and doing this, and not necessarily, I mean, it doesn't sound like there would have been tons of overdubs on this. To me, this could be something that they sat in the studio, at least in the basic track form, and may have done 2 or 3 passes top to bottom and caught the performance, and maybe came in with violins later and did overdubs or something. But what a great experience. First time experience with John Frusciante. And like I said, I've already experienced him as a musician, you know, being in with Chili Peppers, I believe, and also guest appearing in other projects. So thank you guys so much for turning me on to him. Once again, that's the joy of this channel, is that I might be saying what I'm saying and you guys are digging the ride and you know, my dinosaur friends and a cup of coffee and all things that I'm about on this channel. But I get just as much as fun because, I mean, I've done over 100 videos now in 3 months, and they're all because of suggestions from you people. So that's important to me. Please drop in more suggestions for John for me to listen to. Thanks for hanging out. And once again, all the information links are below, whether it's the cup of coffee or the music and other, you know, things about this project for him and my AKG 240s. That link's below as well. So anyhow, that's my story. I'm sticking to it. I got one more video to do, and then I am out of here for a short break. So on my way. All right.